Welcome to Latinos Who Thrive, the podcast that celebrates the stories, achievements, and experiences of Latino individuals making waves in their communities and beyond. I'm your host, Victor Escalante, and each week we bring you inspiring conversations with trailblazers, innovators, and everyday heroes from diverse fields, all united by their heritage and their drive to succeed. Whether you're looking for motivation, insight, or simply a reminder of the incredible power of the Latino community, you come to the right place. From entrepreneurship and activism to arts and academia, we cover it all. So sit back and relax and get ready to be inspired by Latinos Who Thrive. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Peter Rios, who is the founder of the Peter Rios Consulting and the author of Untold Stories, the Latinx leadership experience in higher education. He has served diverse organizations including business, religious institutions, churches, government, higher education, and nonprofits in the areas of organizational diversity, equity and inclusion, leadership development, and innovation. So let's get started. And now we have with us Dr. Peter Rios. Dr. Rios, welcome to Latinos Who Thrive.
Saludos, mi gente. How you doing, Victor? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing well. Bienvenido. Cuéntanos, Dr. Rios, ¿de dónde eres originario?
I'm from Puerto Rico. Background, I grew up in New York, in the Bronx. Then my grandmother who raised me, Lourdes, we moved upstate New York. So a small town outside of Buffalo called Dunkirk, New York. So those are my original stomping grounds. Pero Boricua all the way, Latino, Latinx, Latine all the way. Y para nuestra gente hispana. Así que estamos aquí para servir.
Una pregunta, Dr. Rios.
Yeah.
I've interviewed a lot of different professionals over the years that are multicultural, multilingual, many things.
Yeah.
In your experience, being a native of Puerto Rico and then having moved to the States and being raised in the upper part of New York State, what impact has that had on your mindset?
Well, let me clarify. I was actually born in New York.
Okay.
So, but either way, we still grow up, I think, in this country, at least when I was growing up, and I think it's still similar now. You feel like ni de aquí, ni de allá, right? Not from here or there. And so, that in-between dynamic played a bit, it had an impact on me, especially as a younger person, because I went through an identity crisis, right? Growing up, you saw the majority culture of doing, most of them doing well, or saw kids, with two-parent backgrounds, or it seemed like they had it all together, nice cars, they get dropped off in school. I'm walking in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on here? And so I naturally, like many other kids of color and kids who grew up in public housing, the projects, lo proyecto, the lower socioeconomic status community, wanted to be like them. So, for a long time, I actually wanted to be white. I wanted to be something else, something that I wasn't. And so that was a issue, because besides that, I was dealing with maybe feeling abandonment or neglect because my mom and dad weren't around, So my grandmother raised me. My grandma did a phenomenal job, so there's no knock on her. She raised us as best she could, gave us her faith, all of these things que Latinos, we strive on. I've got resilience and grit from my grandmother, but I have to be honest, it wasn't until I was in the Marine Corps, it seems like a lifetime ago. I was a young guy in the Marines, and I was in Okinawa, Japan. And I didn't realize that I was going through culture shock, and I'm going into my barracks, which is where we stayed, my it's like a dorm room, so to say. And I hear salsa music, right? And something leaped inside of me, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, I got so happy all of a sudden. And I ran to the room where I hear the music, and I just started dancing with a couple guys that were there. We were just laughing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I miss home. I miss rice and beans. I miss totones. I miss, my Latinos. I was like, and that was like the beginning of me owning who I am fully, of living into my Latinidad, of living into que soy Latino, Puertorriqueño, bilingue, right? Bilingual, fully, and so that was the beginning of my journey. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but I want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Yes, the awakening of your DNA.
Exacto.
Wouldn't you consider that a superpower?
Yes. And, growing up, like, it wasn't cool to speak Spanish, like
Right.
it would be punished, even in school. And, so now that's gotten a little better, thank God. And for all the advocates and those out there fighting the good fight for us and for our communities, right? But, so it took a while, and then, to be where I am today, where, like you said, this is my superpower, my identity, who I am, being fully bilingual, bicultural, bi-coastal, I think Latinos do this better than anyone else. We can go in and out of different contexts, different cultures, different nations, and be effective because we know how to assimilate to a certain level without losing who we are, right? And being able to be leaders in these different environments. And I've been learning that, and really helping, trying to help other Latinos to do the same. Like, you have something special within you. Your culture, your identity is part of the value you bring to this world, and own it, live into it, live from that. And we're making a big difference, and our community is growing, and we have so much potential. So yes, Victor, it's a superpower.
I've interviewed a lot of millennials and even some Gen Z Latinos,
Yeah.
and the word that now is coming up in organically within those circles is chingones. Okay, I'm a boomer, so again, we don't use that kind of language. But again, I think it's high time that we embrace that kind of mindset, that you're unstoppable, that you are a multi-resource cultural being, as you said, that can go in and out of different cultures, in and out of different settings, without skipping a beat.
Yeah.
I was having an interview with a famous painter in a previous episode, and we got to talking about the mestizo identity, because a lot of people don't know that when the Spaniards interbred with the native Indian population, their children, the mestizos, were not even considered human. They were called coyotes, and they weren't even allowed to have a birth certificate.
Yeah, wow.
And in Native American history and mythology, the coyote was an animal that was revered, and he was feared. He was revered because he was a protector and benefactor, because he led tribes to food and to water. Right. But he was also feared because he was a trickster. And the conversation around this topic is, we are that kind of mindset, que podemos fregar. We're noble, pero a las malas somos malos.
Well, I think for me, I grew up, like I said, in what we commonly call the hood, right? And so,
yes,
I went from the hood, to flunking, barely graduating high school, to flunking community college 3 times, to now holding 2 PhDs. And like, that journey was definitely not linear. And I only mention that because, part of growing up in el barrio, en el caserío, is that you learn tricks, you learn, how to hustle, you learn from an early age how to make $1, un pesito, un dólar.
Yes.
And though, obviously I channeled that energy for a while in a negative way,
Yes.
And but soon, through life and experience and education and learning and actually exposure, right? Being exposed to different countries, to different cultures, nationalities, and just becoming a global citizen, I got to learn, like, to channel that entrepreneurial spirit that I think many Latinos have, if not most, on how to create, how to innovate, how to add value to myself, my community, the world. And that's what we're doing, and through my new book, Maximiza, 12 llaves para liberar tu mayor potencial, in English, Maximize, 12 keys to unlock your greatest potential. I'm really trying to help and give our community tools because most people have so much within them. They just need to get it unleashed, liberated, released. And that's what these keys are about. And that was one learning lesson for me. That's what I want to share with the listeners today, is that I was doing something, but in the wrong way. And maybe, those listening, like you said, some people consider us, bad, malo, evil, whatever, or we're misunderstood. Sometimes it's our own doing, right? Ignorance, or just bad decisions, mala decisiones. But when we learn to channel who we are in the right way, the right direction, I would say, in form of light, in form of love, in form of, unidad, man, we are powerful people, and we go from that, what we call fixed mindset, que nada puede cambiar, this is the way it's always been, this is how it is, to a growth mindset where it's like, no, I have something special, I'm important, I'm called to do something amazing in this world for my generation, and I'm going to maximize that. And I think that is the challenge for us today, as many different polarizing forces are alive in our world. We have this wonderful opportunity como Latinos, Latinas, to make a huge impact. And we have a lot of power, whether that's voting, whether that's consumer base, whether that's in numbers. We are bilingual. I mean, man, has it ever been a better time for us to leverage our superpower, like you said, and make an impact in this world? I don't know. I would.
That was the message that I had for students this week, as my business partner and I spoke to two ends of the spectrum of Latinos, a group of students and parents who are in juvenile detention, and another one was junior ROTC, and the charter school for at-risk kids. And what I'm seeing, Dr. Rios, is an epidemic of this loser mentality within people of color, that they really need to wake up. It's like they have bought into a flawed bill of goods. They have been brainwashed to be victims, as opposed to really stepping into their power and all of their innate talents that are dormant. It's like they haven't even explored what they're capable of doing.
Right. And it's like what you said earlier, talking about natives and the mestizaje, we carry, most of us, come from a lineage of colonization or even slavery or,
yes,
poverty. And so those things, that slavery mentality, that colonization mentality, or that slavery mentality or poverty, I can't remember, one of those, are always trying to get a grip on us. And if we are not able to shake ourselves out of that, part of it is the system. The system works and benefits from us, not maximizing, but minimizing, right? Many of our people minimize who they are. They're content with a minimum wage job, or content with collecting, welfare, and I'm not knocking that. I've had a season in my life where I've had to get services and, social help, and, you got to do it. Great. But we can't live there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's a difference. And when we begin to realize who we are and what we carry, and that we have something amazing within us, then that begins to change, and sometimes we need exposure, Victor. We need exposure to other people like you, like other Latinos, Latinas that are doing something, or even out of the Latino community. You need to be exposed. You need to see that there's more, and when you have that type of encounter where sometimes it may be someone confronting you in love, or like, mijo, mija, you don't have to live like that. Actually, you can do something else. And it's like, well, really? No, this is the way it is. And I had that conversation early on with Dr. Laila Danoya. She's been like a adopted mother to me, ella de Venezuela. And she told me at an early age, like, yeah, this is the way you're living now, but that doesn't mean you have to stay like that. And that challenged me, because I thought, no, this is the way it is. This is how it is. And she showed me that there was more. So,
yes,
you have to connect with others that can show you another level, another, something better, something greater, that will challenge you to go from your comfort zone, which, by the way, nothing grows in a comfort zone, to something better, algo mejor.
I call it the domestication of people, to where they're so domesticated that again, they never reach their full potential because of their mindset.
Right.
It's kind of like that saying that to a bird that lives in a cage, seeing birds that fly, the bird in the cage thinks the birds are crazy.
Yeah. How dangerous, right? How dangerous
exactly.
they are. Are they crazy?
Exactly.
They need to find a cage.
Exactly. Now, so other than your grandmother, who else influenced you in your through line to go to where you are today?
You said who influenced me to what? I'm sorry.
The through line is like there's a through line of people in your life's journey being there to influence you to reach your full potential.
Yeah.
Who have been those people?
Yep. Well, first and foremost, like you said, mi abuelita, Lourdes was crucial in my early years. And then there were leaders in la comunidad, right? People, who from my faith community to mentors like Dr. Lila Denoya, who took me on at an early age. I got caught with drugs in school, and was expelled, and she took me on. She mentored me. She helped me to get into the Upward Bound program, which still is a program that helps kids of color or even first generation students to go to college. She took me on as a troubled youth. Most people want to mentor people who have it going on. She took me on when I was like in the middle of my disaster, so to say. And then later on, having mentors like Juan Martinez, Mexicano de California, Mexican brother from California who helped me, mentored me as my PhD advisor. I've had Carlos Campo, who's helped me I worked in higher education for a while. He was the only Latino president I ever met or knew. And I told him, man, will you mentor me? And, I thought he would say no. He's so busy, right? College president and university president. He said, yes, here's my cell phone number. I'm like, oh my goodness, I was shocked. And, on a monthly basis, we would chat and he would pour into me and help me to understand executive leadership and how to navigate, different systems, how to navigate, what we consider whiteness in the United States, right? And how to move from that and leverage, those systems or these other systems of unearned power, privilege, and profit. Also people from a distance, right, have mentored me in different books, right? Like Miguel de la Torre. He's a professor, I think, at the University of Denver, has really helped me to understand like, the whole liberation and critical pedagogy, critical theory movement. In leadership, there's other people who have influenced me. And then honestly, just learning, just growing, just, the desire that every time you learn something, you want to grow more, you want to know more. And so I think it's both and, you need people, but then at the same time, you need to also within yourself have the wherewithal to say, you know what, tengo que seguir para adelante, tengo que buscar, tengo que crecer, I have to grow and move, and right. So, yeah, it's a long list.
You're listening to Latinos Who Thrive with special guest Dr. Peter Rios. We'll be right back. Are you ready to unlock your full potential and embark on a journey of limitless knowledge and boundless creativity? Look no further than Wizard Academy, where dreams become reality. At Wizard Academy, they are not just a school, they're a community of visionaries, dreamers, and achievers. Whether you're a student, a working professional, or someone looking to reinvent yourself, Wizard Academy has a place for you. I know because I'm a graduate of the World Changers class of 2007 when I worked in print media. Imagine being guided by industry experts where innovation knows no bounds and where your passions are transformed into skills. Their cutting-edge programs span technology, business, arts, and more. You'll discover the magic within you and you wield it with confidence. At Wizard Academy, they embrace diversity and creativity, and they celebrate your unique journey. So be sure to join them in the heart of innovation where the extraordinary becomes ordinary. Visit them at www.wizardacademy.org now to explore their lineup of courses, faculty, and the incredible success stories of this community. Your future is waiting. Unleash your inner wizard today. We now return you to Latinos Who Thrive with special guest Dr. Peter Rios. 2 episodes previously, I interviewed Dr. Astrid M. Sambolin Morales. I don't know if you know her, but she also did her PhD at Colorado, the University of Colorado.
Okay.
And one of the statistics that we discussed is only 10% of Latinos, among the Latino population, only 10% are PhD recipients.
Wow.
And so we need to work on that, not only at the PhD level, but even at the post-high school education. Yep. We need education to be able to get into those spaces that are reserved for the well-educated, the well-trained, the well-everything.
Yep. So true. And I'm reminded what Paulo Freire said. You know, Paulo Freire era de Brazil, right?
Uh-huh.
An educator. He said that education does not change the world. Education changes people. Those people then go and change the world. And that's what we're talking about. We need our Latino community to get educated. And we get we get a sound education at times from home, our community, but we also need that formal education, because we need to understand the language. We need to understand systems. We need to understand business. We need to understand the social, dynamics and the technological and economical advancements that are going on around us, to be able, and even the political, right? The political sphere, to know what's going on around us so that we can actually be aware, that we can anticipate, that we can actually create the future we want versus just taking the one that we're given, right? Those two things about the future we need to know. You either create the future you want or you will be given one. And so I don't know about you, but I'm tired of our community, inheriting a future that's been given. We need to create a preferred or plausible future, and that's where I'm pushing our community. Like, you need to think more, be more, and grow more. And to do that, we need to get educated, like you said, Victor.
Yes. So we need the academic education, but we also need the mindset education. And that's the space that you and I work in to inspire others, because just getting an education is not enough. It's like, you got to be hungry. You got to have those ganas to be able to get ahead and to make your contribution, more importantly, to leave this world a better place than you found it.
Yep. Exactly.
So what advice would you give to the younger Peter Rios, now that you are at a place that you are not at the summit, you're scaling up, but you have a long ways to go, because you're young, you're ambitious, and you got now the skill set to keep scaling? What advice would you give to that younger you?
Oh, well, the advice I would give to my younger you, I've thought about that often, is to, believe in yourself, to love yourself, to be kind to yourself.
Let me ask you this. Why did you not believe in yourself?
Well, when you're growing up, let me clarify that. I had some belief in myself, obviously,
okay,
but it wasn't like how it is now. And I think that in part it's because of immaturity. In part it was because, again, growing up without, parents, and just thinking maybe something was wrong with me,
Okay.
It was my fault that, maybe I did something wrong. I was a bad kid, so they didn't want to be around, not really understanding adult life, right? Because I'm a kid.
Sure.
So that's one. And hey, thank God I've gone through a process of therapy, of counseling, which, by the way, if you have issues, if you're struggling with something, get the help. There's help. And that's another thing that sometimes is taboo in our community. Like we're like, oh, that's weird. That, mental illness, traumas, all these things are real issues and part of life, and we need to get healing. So I've grown from that and gotten healing, but also then be kind to yourself. Like, you are growing up like many kids of color in a very hostile environment, maybe underprivileged, maybe under-resourced, even in schools, right? Sometimes we don't have the best teachers or the best equipment, or, kids go to school hungry. And so be kind to yourself. I would have, really emphasized that to young Peter Rios. And then, just love, And so I think that today, now I'm looking at who I am today and looking at who I want to become and who I am becoming. And I'm saying the same things, love, be kind to yourself, and believe in yourself.
Okay. And you've developed a program of personal empowerment. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, actually, the program is being developed. The first step was launching the book.
Okay.
It just launched. It's available on Amazon and Kindle and other stores like Barnes and Noble and stuff. But
and we'll have links of that in the show notes. Tell us about the book. You don't have to give us the whole book. Tell us about the book. Tell us what led you to write this book, and what are people going to get as a result of reading the book, or what are people telling you that they're getting?
Yeah, so actually, I just spoke to a leader yesterday. He sent me a message from Santiago, Chile. I was actually out there speaking at a leadership conference a few weeks ago, and he read the book in Spanish, obviously, and was telling me how impactful it was, and how each key could be its own book, and that it was definitely challenging, but also very encouraging to hear stories of triumph, of overcoming. Part of my stories in the book, but then I also bring other stories, and also really just helping people to try to get to their next level wherever it's at. So this book, it can be for somebody who's in their teens, and I've had people who are 70 and 80 years old already read the book and have been encouraged by it, so it's an empowerment book. It's a blueprint on how you can begin to maximize your life. And what I mean by that is, pick an area where you want to grow, whether it's personally, spiritually, whether it's professionally, and you can always, improve, right? And that's what personal and professional development is all about. That's what leadership development is all about. And so the book is going to be followed by a course. We're already almost done with the course. It should launch next month. It'll be on my website at www.peterriosconsulting.com. And then the program you're speaking of will follow the course, which will be a mastermind coaching program for Maximize Your Life. And so we're excited about that, and so stay tuned.
Let's talk about leadership.
Yes.
Because that's the space that you and I, again, are experts in.
Sure.
Talk about Latino leadership at the national level. What are you seeing is either in place, missing, or coming soon? For Latinos.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think we could do like 10 podcasts on that.
I'm sure.
Pero I think that, we have better models, right, today. I think that some people have paved the way, like Cesar Chavez, and you think of people we've had in the government, even at the Supreme Court level. Think of faith-based community leaders. I think of, different people like that. I think we have been growing, I think that now we're becoming our own. I think that now we're starting to see a lot more ownership, like entrepreneurs, right? A lot of people starting nonprofits. We're starting to see, like I said, in higher education, Latino, Latina presidents and executives and deans, more people in politics. And I think that this is a great time for us to develop individually and even as a community. I would say where I would love to see us be more strengthened is amongst our diversity. Sometimes, one powerful thing we have is that Latinos, everybody speaks Spanish, and that unites us. However, sometimes, we allow like the little differences, which are cool. We need to leverage our differences. That's what makes who we are. However, not so much that we are divided. So, like Dominicans are over there, Mexicans are over there, Peruvians are over there. No, it's like, man, listen, we honor each other's cultural, ethnic background, but at the same time, let's also come together and be a superpower, right? A community that can make a difference. Yeah. I think the younger generation is pumped up. They're ready, but they're also they have no room for tolerance. They're not waiting. They want to get it done like yesterday. And I like that. I like ese that salsa that I like ese sazón, you know, que tienen los jóvenes. And I think we need to leverage that. So I think this is where I'll end my little comment, Victor, is that we need to be better at so for example, I've done a lot of equity, right, diversity work. And one area that's neglected is usually generational diversity. And we have to learn and leverage each other's differences in terms of generationally, you know? So we need to leverage the wisdom of older or more mature folks, o que están más sazonados. and we need to leverage the youth and the energy and the power that younger people bring and the creativity, right? And so I think that fusion, I don't know how you feel about it, is something that we're still learning how to do.
Well, look at the cultural differences between Japan and the U.S. in that that culture, since you live there, it's based on a merit-based wisdom that is passed on to younger generations as opposed to just stepping into it. And you can be highly motivated, but if you don't have the discipline, if you don't have the right skill set, if you don't have the intellectual capital, you're just a motivated idiot.
Wow. Yeah.
We just don't prepare the younger generation to step into that power, but to step into it well prepared. That it's their time. It's their time, and they've been prepared all along, as opposed to just leaving them to fend for themselves. And what I'm seeing is some Latinos are grabbing onto the power and then misusing the power because, again, they lack the preparation. It's not that they're bad people, it's that they lack the preparation.
Yeah. What do you think we can do for that? Or
we need to massively do a cultural education, because as Peter Drucker says, the culture eats strategy every day.
Yeah.
And so our culture needs to change, and it starts with us. It starts with us mentoring locally, and then raising leaders for the future that are well prepared.
Yeah, that's good.
And in my experience, I don't know about your work, my partner and I are having greater success with children, small children.
Wow.
Grade school children that we are working in different schools and different organizations to teach them these principles that are based upon emotional intelligence.
Okay, that's great.
Because when you get to teenagers, they already have an attitude. They already have they already have the hood mindset. And while I'm a believer in miracles, it's a lot harder to work with teenagers that have been corrupted by the culture of being little punks, little badasses.
Yeah. It's a harder uphill battle too with adults, you know?
Yes.
Like Alvin Toffler said, the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And as adults, man, it no cuesta to try to learn and relearn.
Exactly.
You know?
So tell us what's on the horizon for you. You got this book that you just released. You got some leadership programs that you got coming out. What is your work in DEI? Tell us about that.
Yeah,
as far as what you're doing.
Sure, I've done and I'm doing consulting. So I've consulted at like Harvard University Human Resources to coach veteran-owned small mom and pop businesses to executive leaders one-on-one. I don't limit myself in who I can work with, but I do have like 3 areas that I usually focus on. One is leadership development, right? The other one is DEI, or what I call equity work. And then the third one is innovation and change. So those are the 3 areas that I usually stay within, the umbrellas. And I've worked with the Lilly Endowment. I've worked with faith religious leaders. I've worked with a diversity of people on just really try to make first, if it's an organization, their organization more equitable, where if, people don't feel like they belong, why, and helping them to get down to the bottom of it, helping leaders to grow, in cultural responsiveness, cultural humility, learning, helping leaders to really understand group dynamics, and even, let's say, with telework or remote work, right? Like, inclusion is a big deal, and sometimes we forget about, if you have a hybrid workforce, you need to include those people who are working from home, so all of that is DEI work. Sometimes, people think of DEI work as just one thing, whether race or LGBTQIA2S plus issues, and all of those are important as well. But like I was saying earlier, there's a plethora of issues that we are dealing with. And so I help leaders and organizations to work through that, and do it sometimes through training. It could be coaching, team coaching, seminar based. And then you asked me what else was I up to. I'm already writing my third book. It's going to be on leadership specifically. And I don't have a title yet. I'm still working on that, brainstorming and, but already starting to write. I'm speaking a lot more, and like later this year, I'll be speaking with Les Brown in September in Orlando, Florida. I'm on a Maximize Your Life speaking tour right now. I'm going to Phoenix next month, and then New York thereafter, and it's building. So just, though I've learned this from younger people, like diversify your revenue portfolio, diversify your revenue portfolio. You can't just be one thing, and it's okay. Like sometimes we get stuck in a box, like, oh, I just do this one thing. No, if you have 2 or 3 gifts, why not maximize those? And so that's what I'm doing, and I work within those different areas of speaking, coaching, consulting, and training.
You got to have the Swiss knife mindset that you can pull out another tool, another resource, another product.
Yep.
Well, it's been very enlightening to have you on our show today. You have to come back and keep us updated with your progress and what you're up to, especially with your upcoming project.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Victor, and all the listeners for the time and space today. Let's connect. I'm on social media at Dr. Peter Rios, Dr. for doctor. So connect with me there. And I think you said you'll put my links up, but
yes,
love to connect. I've already connected with you on LinkedIn, así que estamos conectados.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you for having me. Keep up the great work. Keep influencing, keep empowering. Y Latinos, vamos unidos, amando, creciendo, liberando. Bendiciones. Thank you.
Thank you. And there you have it, friends. That's going to do it for today. Until next time, go out and thrive.
Un abrazo. Bye-bye.